Yo, hello. How y'all doing? Well, my name is Abner Yonly, and I was in Liberia March, April this year, and I visited Springfield, right? And I don't know, it just kind of like hit me in a sense like this is Liberia. I was born here, matter of fact. I graduated kindergarten from Barnes Foundation. I think it should be in Lagbasi. So I am not.
Bounce on the map, here.
So I am not stranger to around here. Even my high school was SOS Hemomano. So I
SOS on the map, SOS on
I
the
am
map.
from around. I've been around this place. So coming to the airport and realizing that you don't really get to see that much of Liberian pilots, and it just hit me in a sense like I know I'm not an older person to say, but it hit me in a sense like, okay, I'm in the US, I fly. My wife and I, we fly everywhere. So how can I inspire a younger child growing up in Liberia? Because seeing is believing. You know, if a child walk up to the airport and all he see is somebody who don't look like him, it seems impossible. But if he sees someone who look like him, speak like him, you know, like speaking colloquial and things like that, it's like, okay, if he can do it, I can do it. So that's a motivational step. So I went back. It's not easy. It's not a cheap trip to do. It's expensive. And if anyone follow me on Facebook, they know I love my sport car. I love doing. I'm a sport guy, so I had to sell that car, and I said I will make this inspirational journey to inspire a kid in Liberia and Africa as a whole.
Okay, so now we'll open up Moses.
Makes me feel proud. Growing up in Liberia, I grew up doing. I went through the Civil War. I lived as a refugee. Uh, I was a refugee just in Ivory Coast. I live in Ghana, Liberian camp. So it's it's inspirational because even landing in Scotland, there's a wall where everyone who have ever done this trip, you know, they got this wall frame in Scotland, and you don't really get to see someone who look like us. So it's historical in a sense that it's not just me, you know, doing the trip. It wasn't just, oh, I'm not trying to do this to be famous, or no, it was doing it to represent Liberia, to represent entire Africa.
Okay, so
Excuse me, gentlemen.
The process is a little long, but I will try to cut it short. It's actually a lot of planning. So every major airline, they do have like an operational office and dispatch. So I'm that guy. I had to do everything. I had to like do my flight plan and look around. Most African countries don't have numbers that you can call and be like, hello, do you have fuel? So you're doing it blind. So I came across a company in Dubai called JetX. So they were the one handling everything for me. I don't know. They got contacts for every airport. So they were the one doing all my handling. But leaving from America, like the USA, Canada, it was kind of like simple in a sense that you can see the airport and you can go there. But I spent a month in, not a month, but a week in Canada alone due to weather. Um, it gets freezing. All the bigger jets got like ice protection. I don't have it. So you gotta watch out for what you're doing. Like you can't just go up there into the ice, you know. It can be disastrous. So yeah, other than that, I went I flew in different situations I've never been into before. I'm not a professional, I don't do this for a living. I got probably less than 600 hours of flying. So this is a big feat, you know. People, I've came across professional pilots who ask me questions like, "Hey, how many hours you got?" And then when I call my hours, they just can't believe, you know, where how far I've gotten. So yeah, so the United States, Canada, Greenland, Iceland, the Faroes, and then I went to the United Kingdom. From the United Kingdom, left over, went to Spain, not Spain, but France, Spain, Morocco, Mauritania, Senegal, Sierra Leone, and I'm finally here.
Are there any pilots that you know of that have inspired you?
So that's some of the thing I'm talking about. So growing up in Liberia, you don't really get to see. I know there's a lot of professional Liberian pilots out there flying for Deltas and all the big airlines, but if you don't see it, you don't know it. You read about historian, you read history, and you get to know about them because you hear about them. But if we cannot hear about our own people, it's not something that is there to know.
Okay, I'm not good.
Technical issue wasn't basically on like maintenance also. Everything was good. Most issue I had was dealing with like the bureaucracy side of things, dealing with immigration, getting permits for every countries. Um, in France, the airport I landed at, apparently that's how they make money. So you have to pay for a handler. And they didn't explain that to me. On the phone, he said, "Oh, if you don't need it, you're good." And then when I landed, it was like a whole different thing. My French is like waterside French, and he blasting at me. So he sees my passport at night, but the next morning, the police was there, and they kind of, handed back my passport. But other than that, free time this morning, it was due to fuel issue. They don't have my aircraft fuel, so I had to go find another fuel to help for me to come over here. So I got it, but then the airport won't allow me to bring the fuel on to the airport. So I've been there I was at the airport like 7 in the morning and just talking my way through.
Okay, just a follow-up, a little bit of follow-up. Most of the people know that you're flying a single engine. Is it Modern or Saros, or which of the flight are you flying on? And what is the horsepower?
It's a Beechcraft Sundowner 1976, and it's 180 horsepower. The highest I had to fly was almost 14,000 feet over Greenland, because everyone knows Greenland is like an ice cap, and the minimum you can fly is 12,000. So even if you're at 12,000 feet, it's like the ground is right there, so you can actually see it. And that's the most dangerous place you can ever fly. I know people think about the Atlantic, but flying over Greenland is like a whole different ball game. You are 13, 14,000 feet, but the ground is like right below you. So that's the highest I had to fly on this trip.
Yes, my name is Aaron.
This is my country one, and I'm home, and I'll be spending some time in Liberia. And what's this called? As well, being in Liberia, I had to find fuel. The fuel is not available, so I can just up and leave. So that's the next challenge I have to face.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I need clarity to know as to whether while returning, does it mean that you have not completed the cumulative return to Maryland where you started? To Maryland, United States of America.
I mean, my trip is basically, I can say, complete, because the main trip started with the North Atlantic. I completed that when I crossed it, when I got to the UK. And now my goal was, if you read what I wrote, was to make my way to go Nigeria and turn around and come back. But I got to see how I can find fueling and everything to do that. Okay. So you only was born 1986, he's 37 years old.
Okay, so
That's a good question, and it's a really good question. Thank you for asking that. So looking around Africa, if you fly over, go to Ghana, I'm pretty sure Ivory Coast and other countries, they do have flight schools. They got aviation booming, because aviation makes everything easier. In Liberia, what usually happens during the rainy season, everybody sees down, right? Because all the roads bad, and if you decide to use the road, I watch your channel, and I've seen what you went through, going to Granger and everywhere around Liberia. I'm a big fan of the channel. So with aviation, you don't need to worry about that, right? So I mean, I flew from RIA to get here, 11, 12, 13 minutes. How long it takes to get to RIA driving through traffic? It takes
2 hours now.
There you go. So aviation kind of squeeze all that hardship into place. So that would be something great to do.
2 more questions.
Okay, my name is David Yes, and I read for the Daily Observer newspaper.
Yes, sir.
Let me say thank you so
Great, right? I feel really great about it. I feel like this will help. This will help put Liberia on the map. This will help put Africa on the map. No, we are smart people. We are really smart people, and we usually sit back and say we don't take initiative. Sometimes we sit back and say, "Oh, that's what people think. He's crazy." But we need to sometimes push, especially the youth, because no one will do. Like, I know usually we sit and say normal days, right? That was my uncle normal days. They were the youth. They made that happen, right? So now it gotta be us. We gotta be the one moving Liberia forward as the youth of this country. We can't keep listening to their days. We need to be greater. Hopefully to bring back aviation in Liberia. And growing up, we all heard about what is it, Air Liberia, and they have multiple airline captains in Liberia, flying to every counties. If we can do that again in Liberia, that would be really great. I know it's a milestone, like you said, but it's possible. Everything is possible. Like in our lives, like I know I had a single engine, but everyone got a single engine within himself. It's up to you if you want to go across the Atlantic, because the sky is not the limit, right? So yeah, that's the goal. Hopefully one day we can bring that back to light, bring flight school and everything into the country. Like the youth need to see other things to do. If the youth don't see it, what you see is what you want to become, right? So if I'm going to school and I'm saying everyone who looking good got money in the country, the politician or something, I want to be a politician, right? It's simple as that. So, but if they got other things they can turn to, then they don't need to just focus on this or aiming point. They got so many varieties and stuff they can do, So that's a good question.
Okay, so
I got one more thing to say. They say behind every successful man there's a woman. And I want to tell my wife, Abner Yonly, thank you so much. And it's not easy, right? Being married and then coming up with a trip like this, you got to have the support. And if anyone know me, I know my aunties, my uncles, they sometimes come to the US, especially my uncle Zilly. He came to the US one time, he just looked at my motorcycle, he said, I will call you next week, sell it. You want to kill yourself, stuff like that. So I'm always doing the crazy thing. And she always supports me for some reason, like she asked me if it's something you want to do, you think, go ahead. And that's something like that, because having a wife who supports you makes you go higher height. And having a wife who doesn't sometimes limit the man's ceiling, right? Because you can't move because your wife won't feel happy. So I want to tell my wife, thank you so much. And my mom, Joanne Bakoya, thank you so much. The Bakoya family, yeah, the Bakoya family, thank you so much. And for my own weatherman, Jenkins Yonly,
He's rather been a weatherman.
I will be flying
Perhaps
and
you saw it.
you will be like, I think the sign came out, you going, the snow falling there. I'll be like, I'm already in the air already, papi. But yeah, I'm glad for my parents, the Bakoya family, the Yonly's family, the Zillies. I got the Collies, the entire Congo town, Moho family. Thank you guys so much.